don't believe the new Home Secretary ever believed in the Rwanda plan.
So it all began last week with the overuse of the word batshit, when James cleverly was meant to have used it to describe the Rwanda policy.
He distanced himself from it and his predecessor's language on it. He may even, on occasion, have privately called it batshit.
Shadow Home Secretary has gone on the record to say that you said to her that the government's Rwanda policy was batshit.
Yesterday in the Commons, you were accused of describing the Rwanda system as batshit.
It was suggested in the House of Commons yesterday, and we don't use this phrase lightly, so apologies to sensitive ears, but that you described this policy as batshit.
Then cleverly was heard calling Stockton North a shithole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Yeah. Why are 34% of children in my constituency living in poverty? During Prime Minister's questions today, I asked the Prime Minister why 34% of children in my constituency lived in poverty. Before the Prime Minister answered, the Home Secretary chose to add in his pennyworth. He was seen and heard to say, "Because it's a shithole." I know he is denying being the culprit, but, Madam Deputy Speaker, the audio is clear and has been checked and checked and checked again. There is no doubt that these comments shame the Home Secretary, this rotten government and the Tory party. Very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I've advised the respective offices of the members of this House I will refer to in this.
So now we're at a truly bizarre juncture where cleverly denies calling Stockton North a shithole, but instead calling its MP, Alex Cunningham, a shit MP. He's apologised for his use of language, but hasn't really apologised to Alex Cunningham or Stockton North.
It is extremely sad that the Home Secretary hasn't the guts to admit to his appalling remark made about my Stockton North constituency from the front bench and apologise to the people I have the privilege of representing. There was quite a chain of events last week. After I raised the matter on the floor of the House, the Home Secretary first denied he had said anything at all. The government then sent out the Tory party chairman, the honourable member for North West Durham, to tell the media that no words had been uttered from the Treasury bench. Next up, the Leader of the House, who said she'd been told by the Home Secretary he didn't say anything, and she believed him. She didn't help matters by referring to Billington instead of Billingham. Clearly, he took them both for fools, as he later admitted his foul language, but tried to minimise the damage to his reputation by claiming his remark was aimed at me. Well, that's all right then, but it's untrue and has been shown to be untrue. Perhaps the Home Secretary has misadvertently misled people across the country in relation to this particular matter. But this matters, Madam Deputy Speaker. People take notice. They take notice of the things that the Home Secretary says, and his talking down of Stockton and Teesside can have consequences. He may have whispered in your ear, Madam Deputy Speaker, but can you advise me if you've got any powers to order the Home Secretary to return to the dispatch box and apologise in person for insulting Stockton, rather than hide behind the half-truths uttered on his behalf by an official?
Secretary of State.
Further to that point of order, Madam Deputy Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, the honourable gentleman accused me of making derogatory remarks about his constituency. And my response issued through my office was that I did not, would not, and would never make such comments about his constituency. What I said was a comment about him. My apology was for using unparliamentary language, but I will make it absolutely clear, Madam Deputy Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, with no ambiguity, I did not, would not. Then what are you calling me, sir?
Here's the crazy part. The rules of Parliament mean no one can be called a liar, even though cleverly, obviously, has called Stockton North a shithole. What a stupid institution it is.
The honourable gentleman asked for the Home Secretary to come back to the chamber to issue an apology. He is doing so, so it is not enough. So the honourable gentleman ought to hear what the Home Secretary has to say and not to shout from his sedentary position, please. Home Secretary.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I know what I said. I rejected the accusation that I criticised his constituency. My criticism, which I made from a sedentary position about the honourable gentleman, used inappropriate language, for which I apologise. But I will not accept that my criticism was of his constituency, because it was not. Then what are you saying, sir?
Order. This is not a debate, and the matter is now closed. The Right Honourable Gentleman, the Home Secretary, has rightly come to the Chamber. He has apologised to the Honourable Gentleman. That is an apology which is rightly due to the Honourable Gentleman, and I hope he will accept it. No, I'm not taking. Or I will briefly listen to the Honourable Gentleman, but I wish to close this matter.
I don't actually require any apology for an insult against me, because it didn't happen. But the fact is, even as you've just intimated that the Home Secretary has apologised to me, he has not apologised to me. He has not apologised to the people of my constituency. He has apologised for using unparliamentary language.
That's right.
The Honourable Gentleman, the Right Honourable Gentleman, has issued an apology. I require an apology for the use of unparliamentary language, and the Right Honourable Gentleman, the Home Secretary, has given that apology. It is my understanding that he has also apologised to the Honourable Gentleman. Whether the Honourable Gentleman accepts it or not is a matter for him. I require an apology. The Home Secretary has issued that apology, and the matter is now closed. And I must say that the people who elected us to this place expect us to concentrate now on the very serious matters that we have been discussing and that we are going on to discuss.
Click here for a barrel full of arseholes.